smash and grab. Guys, listen. There will be criticisms thrown out in just a few minutes. But can we not let me revel in my jubilee for just 5 seconds? Because this is the first time in what feels like a long time I can come out here and put a genuine smile on my face. Because not only today did United beat Chelsea and go 10 points ahead of the Blues, but we're now 6 points ahead of Liverpool. And we are slowly but surely guaranteeing Champions League qualification, maybe even third place if we're lucky. I think probably third place. Now, let's talk about the 90 minutes in isolation of what I just saw. I really struggle to find many, if any, positives from that match. And I don't mean to, ruin the parade or ruin the party because I want to be smiling. I could publish a 90-minute video of me just staring at this camera, smiling. But it'd be in bad faith, guys. That was terrible. I'm just gonna call a spade a spade. Barring the first 2 minutes of that match, the whole entire first half was Chelsea. I think what Rosenier did a great job of analyzing in the fact is that if you just put a player in behind United's deepest midfielder today, Casemiro, but just ahead of United's back line, which was today a very makeshift group between Nusayr Mazraoui at center back, Aiden Headman at center back, and Dallo and Shaw on either side of them, you could create problems. And that's exactly what Enzo Fernandez did. For the first 10 to 15 minutes, they planted him just in that kind of dead zone that I was mentioning, allowing him just to spray passes, usually to a right wing cutting inside. For the first 5 minutes, Esteval was brilliant. He gets a shot off on goal that narrowly misses, takes a deflection. Fernandez himself has a really good chance that just narrowly misses. But then Esteval gets injured. 11 minutes in, Esteval goes down, and that almost felt like the turning point because Chelsea had to bring on Alejandro Garnacho. And I don't necessarily say that in a way to dig out Garnacho. I'm glad he's not United anymore, but I don't think he's a terrible player. But when you're replacing the likes of Esteval with Garnacho, you can clearly tell the difference in quality. And then obviously at some point in the first half, Garnacho switched wings with Neto, so then Neto was coming down the right. Same thing with Esteval. Same thing with Neto. Not a bad player, but quality difference between him and Esteval. It's levels. So when Esteval goes off and Garnacho comes on, Chelsea are still kind of thumping at this, playing Enzo in between the half spaces, letting him throw in these kind of incisive through balls. And meanwhile, when United do get a rare foot on the ball, it's almost Ruben Amorim level attacking quality here, guys. It is very much just trying to hit us on the counter because we're going to space out Bruno Fernandes essentially to the midway line. So even though we're getting the ball oftentimes at the edge of our own box, Bruno is so far up. So Kabi and Casemiro both have to find a way to get the ball to Bruno. And then after that, Bruno has to play in a perfect pass, which he does. But it's to a front three combination of Cunha, Sesko, and Mbuemo, who all at certain points were tripping over their own feet today, guys. There were probably 3 really good chances at either half of United being able to create a high XG scoring counterattack, a high XG chance at a counterattack goal. And at every single instance, it would look like it was me running out there. I'm just running into bad avenues, running into opposing players, running into one another. I mean, here's Fernandes layering some of the best kind of attack launching balls possible, and then they would just die. 2 dribbles in, someone would have a miss touch or a miss kick, or I think Yoro Hato actually had a brilliant game today. It was just poor. It was really, really bad. And there was just so much disconnection. Is that even a word? I don't know. There was no connection, I'll say, between Fernandes and the deeper Casemiro and Kabi. And I really don't blame any of them for that. They're kind of following instructions. If you push Casemiro or Kabi a little bit higher up that pitch into the midfield, then whoever stays back is going to get overwhelmed. If you drop Bruno deeper, his passing options are limited greatly. So you kind of have to play this. There's a good chance we give the ball away kind of football. And while it worked at certain moments today, um, overall, guys, it kind of continues my general problem with Michael Carrick's kind of tactical prowess. Um, and we speak about the United goal. I don't even know, was it off of a throw-in? You know, Fafana gets injured, gets taken off the pitch. So Chelsea are down to 10 men at this point, right? United get on the ball. I think it's a throw-in. Eventually, Fernandez finds himself at the right channel, crosses the ball in. Sesko does a good job of kind of botting defenders, having them gravitate towards him. Leaves Cunha moving right into the box. A great first-time hit, I think. 1-0 United 43 minutes into the match. A brilliant counterattack or a brilliant kind of whatever you want to call that, but not sustainable. I mean, how lucky do we have to be in the fact that Esteval goes off 11 minutes in, and then Fafana gets injured just before United's goal. I, I do hold doubts on if Fafana was on the pitch if that goal would have been scored. But regardless, he wasn't, and United go up 1-0. Going into the second half, I just have one thought in mind in this game. Just, I don't care if you just spam passes between the goalkeeper and center back for 45 minutes. Let this game end, because you knew how massive of a fixture this was going into it. But guys, I thought we were pretty bad in the first half. We were almost worse in the second half. First 15, 20 minutes, Chelsea are kind of layering these attacks. I mean, already in the first half, they had an Esteval chance, an Enzo Fernandez chance. A few minutes into the second half, I think Gusto whips in a ball that Fafana heads off the post. A few minutes after that, the same instance, someone is crossing the ball into a kind of a big puddle of Chelsea and United players just inside the box, off the post again. I mean, we are counting our lucky stars, doing whatever we can to hold on to this result. Meanwhile, when we do get on the ball, it's the same thing per usual, trying to link up these counterattacks. And maybe it's a little bit sharper in this half, but guys, it's still poor. It's still no reliable way to qualify for Champions League. Next season, of course. It might save us this season, but guys, we are so lucky in the fact that this is a Chelsea team that is quite confidence to praise right now. I would almost look at Tottenham to having more faith in themselves right now than Chelsea. I mean, Enzo Fernandez 2 weeks ago was out here talking about how he wants to move to Real Madrid. And to be fair, he actually did play really well today, like I mentioned, but this is such a team that looks more like 11 individuals than a real team. And I think United are lucky in that. I think if this is an Enzo Maresca-led squad or whoever, anyone else really beside Rosenier, this could be 3-1, 4-1 in favor of Chelsea. And on the same end, I think if this isn't Michael Carrick, if this is a Julian Nagelsmann or whatever, this could be 2-0, 3-0 Man United. Both teams were kind of swinging haymakers and none of them were landing. Chelsea were putting on these waves of attack, but there wasn't really anything too dangerous. Like Lamans didn't have to make an extraordinary save. They had individual little blurbs of the ball hitting the post and a couple crosses into the box. But was it consistent enough? No. And United had enough time when they really needed the ball and they really needed to decrease the pressure on them. They had enough time to get it out or to try and launch a counter, even if it didn't work. And I think they did a great job of just interrupting every bit of Chelsea momentum, which ultimately I think led to the win. Guys, I was looking at the XG. Oh, really bad. I mean, how many shots does Chelsea have? At least 20. And I know only 3 or 4 were on target, but guys, this was a poor performance from us. No attacking continuity. So much pressure on Bruno Fernandes. Our back line, I actually don't think did too poorly today, but I look at more at Chelsea for that. I'm looking at Chelsea here for just a second. Cole Palmer, was he playing today? Liam Delap, where were you? Garnacho, an okay game. Neto, an okay game. The midfield, Caicedo, I actually didn't think today was brilliant. I think Enzo Fernandez was really good. I think Hato at left center back, I believe, for Chelsea was really, really good. Cucurella, per usual, very good. But there wasn't enough attacking prowess. I think if Palmer was kind of on his A game, which we haven't seen that in months at this point, Chelsea at least would have walked away with the point. But that just didn't happen today. And, I look at some of United's players. Casemiro, I think, did a great job of kind of shielding off most Chelsea attacks, shielding off his back line. Kobe Mainu, brilliant job in the midfield. That's the Kobe I remember. Bruno, 18 assists on the season. I think he's going to break the record. He's 3 assists in what? 6 games? Something like that. Sesko, non-factor pretty much. Cunha, barring the goal, non-factor. And Buemo, we're just going to move on from that. I think it was a big help having Maindu back in the midfield. I think if that was Ugarte, very much like against Leeds, it could have been really bad in the midfield. But overall, this is the game that we're just gonna try and forget about. We're gonna remember the result, forget about the game. And the problem is I've been saying that a lot about Man United recently. Up next is Brentford. I don't know how confident I feel about that, but guys, 10 points ahead of Chelsea, have almost guaranteed Champions League football this season. The sun is almost shining. We'll see. But I'll talk to you all soon. Have a great week. God bless.